Hello everyone and welcome back to a new playthrough for the Arkham Horror LCG. In today's video we are facing Spreading Flames on Expert difficulty with Isabelle Barnes, and Isabelle can be played in two different ways. In order to showcase all allies, I have for the very first playthrough decided that we go with Alexei Saburov, since we saw Jim in action with Dexter Drake. Now we are, where do we have him? Alexei Saburov. So in my opinion, the version with Jim Calva is a little bit stronger because we will then have included spell cards into our deck, which we can boost with Spiritual Intuition. Unfortunately, on Expert difficulty, Isabelle's signature card, her Twin 45, is not very useful. The reason being is it's very hard to have two skills strong, especially fighting and evading, and with the current card pool. Now this would only be a 4-cost weapon that deals +1 damage and gets +1 fight. And the biggest downside of this card is that we have our two hand slots covered with a single asset, and it's very hard to make both skills work within the current card pool. Again, this is an introduction video, my very first playthrough with Isabelle Barnes, and I have decided to showcase Alexei's version of this deck, and after this we will have a showcase of a version of this deck with Jim Calva. So before we shuffle the player deck, we'll quickly draw one random basic weakness. Alright, let's pick this one. We have the Nameless Lurker. Also the very first time I see this weakness. Basic weakness, he has the, or maybe the second time, I'm not sure. Aloof keyword, spawn, farthest empty location. Forced when the investigation phase ends. If the Nameless Lurker is ready and has no doom on it, place 1 doom on it. Alright. Another reason why Jim Calva is, in my opinion, the better option is because he further increases the willpower by +1 and strengthens all the spell cards together with Spiritual Intuition. It works way better, and if you take too much horror, you can heal with the Meat Cleaver. You also have 3 hand slots, so it's definitely the better option. But again, we want to showcase the cards, and that's why I have decided to go with Alexei. Alright, we draw a starting hand of 5 cards. We have found Alexei, wonderful. And we have found our weakness card that we can put aside and replace by a new card from the top of our deck. We also have Look What I Found, which will help us to clear out this location. Wonderful. We have Unexpected Courage to trigger Isabelle's ability and Overpower. We now only need the Meat Cleaver, the Ward of Protection. At this moment we can take a mulligan, put this card aside and draw 1 card. Alright, the set aside cards will be shuffled back into our deck, and then we will continue. We have our 5 starting resources. The Chaos Bag is prepared. In the first round, the first round we start with the investigation phase, and for our first action we will play Alexei. Have a quick look at him. Free cost ally, takes up 1 ally slot. Reaction: when your turn begins, heal 1 damage or 1 horror from Alexei, and we can put 2 damage and 2 horror onto him before he is defeated. One, two, three. Second action, we will investigate to clear out this location. Now we will commit no cards to the skill test. Draw 1 chaos token, and we have drawn the -6. Important to note, a skill value can never drop below 0. So a -6 would bring us to -4 when we have intellect of 2. In this case, whenever you are below 0, your skill value will be reset to 0. So the lowest skill value you can have is a 0. And this allows us to play, look what I found. Here we have a 2-cost event with the fast keyword. Play after you fail a skill test by 2 or less while investigating. Discover 2 clues at your location. So we'll have to pay 2 resources. 1, 2. Now we get to discover 2 clues. And I just realized that we haven't looked at Isabelle herself. We'll quickly do this so you can see the stats. We have a willpower of 4, intellect 2, combat 3, agility 3, and the following special ability. During a skill test you're performing, take 1 direct horror, commit an eligible skill from your discard pile to this test. After this test resolves, shuffle that card into your deck, limit once per round. Elder Sign gives us +1 to our skill value. If you succeed, heal 1 horror. Now, very important to note this, it says commit an eligible skill. So you cannot commit any card in your discard pile. It has to be a skill card. For example, Overpower would be a skill card, as well as Unexpected Courage. So we have taken our 2 actions, 1 more actions we have, and with that we will just gain a resource and end our turn. Continue with the upkeep phase, radio cards, draw a card, gain a resource. Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom, draw 1 encounter card. We have drawn Cosmic Evils. We will decide to put 1 more Doom on the agenda and continue with the investigation phase. Now Lucky Charm helps. We have this card in our deck to 1 second. So it's a 2-cost asset that takes up our accessory slot, comes into play with 4 charges. As a fast action, we can spend a charge and exhaust the Lucky Charm, move 1 damage or 1 horror from a card at your location to a card you control. So this card will help us to move the horror that we will place on Isabelle from her special ability onto Alexei so that he can heal it. So we pay our 2 resources and bring this card into play with 4 charges. We will then draw a card for our second action and immediately play the just drawn card, Emergency Cash, to gain 3 resources for our final action. 1, 2, 3. Still no enemies in play. We will continue with the upkeep phase, radio cards, draw a card. and gain a resource. Mythos phase. Now the agenda advances. We place our third doom on the agenda card. Then we'll read the back. Here we are instructed to perform a willpower test. Each investigator who fails takes 1 horror. And then we will bring in agenda 2A, which advances when we have 5 doom on it. We will now perform the test from the agenda card. So we have a willpower of 4, and we can take quite some horror. We can even assign it to Alexei, since he can heal horror every turn. And we have drawn the skull token, a -2 at the moment. So it's X. X is the number, current act number +1. So we are at 2. The test fails. We'll take a horror, which we will place onto Alexei. Alright, we'll then draw 1 encounter card. Correct? Yes. And we have found a mutated experiment. Alright. So currently we do not have any weapons in play. This enemy may lock us down here. And actually, when your turn begins, heal 1 damage or horror from Alexei, so we can heal the horror, which we have assigned during the Mythos phase. We will try to evade the mutated experiment, and we will commit unexpected courage to this test to increase our agility by +2. We have an advantage of +2 only. There are no other cards we could commit. And we have drawn the tablet. It's a -2. Reveal another token. If you fail, take a damage. All right. And we have drawn a -1. So in total it's a -3. Unfortunately, the test fails and we'll have to take 1 point of damage. We will then try to evade the enemy 1 more time. This time we will use her special ability and take a direct horror in order to commit unexpected courage again to this skill test. So we have an advantage of +2. And we have drawn. This time it's a -4. This test also fails. However, we cannot perform the remaining ability on this token currently, since we have no fire cards in the encounter discard pile. And whenever we use Isabelle's ability, we get to place this card back into our deck instead of putting it into the discard pile. So let's try to evade him 1 more time with our final action. If we are lucky, we avoid 1 damage and 1 horror. If not, then that's okay. And we have drawn again the monster marker. We failed 1 more time. We will continue with the enemy phase. Now the mutated experiment attacks us. He deals 1 damage and 1 horror. The damage we have to place onto Isabelle, and the horror we can place onto our lucky charm. Why not? And now the enemy has attacked. We will continue with the upkeep phase. Ready all cards. Draw a card. Nice. Gain a resource. At the end of the round we can advance. We will do so by spending our 2 clues. If we advance an act number 1A, we get to discard each enemy in play. Then we will bring in the dormitories, the Miskatonic Quad, spawn the Servant of Flame at the dormitories, attach 1 copy of Fire to your friend's room, and the remaining 4 copies will be placed in the encounter discard pile, and we will bring in act number 2A. The objective of act number 2A is to reach the Miskatonic Quad. As soon as we reach this location, we can advance. So this one was a bit quicker, since we have played this scenario now numerous of time. Yeah, so we did advance. We will now continue with the Mythos phase. Place 1 Doom on the agenda, draw 1 encounter card, and we have drawn Forbidden Secrets. Discard Surges if we have no clues, so we will just put it into the discard pile, draw another card, and here we have found the Bystander. It's also unfortunate to find an enemy at this stage. Now this enemy, we still have no weapons. Sure, we can fight. We could either fight or try to evade. If we evade, we have 1 more turn. We could try to evade with Soul Link, which would increase our agility by +3. Alright, first of all, when your turn begins, heal 1 damage or horror from Alexei. I almost forgot it. Let's heal this damage first. Now, I would say we will try to evade him to have 1 more turn, and we will commit Soul Link to the test. Hopefully this one works. We have an advantage of +5 now. 6-1. And we have drawn again the monster marker -4. The test was successful. We successfully evaded the Bystander and can place him at our location evaded, so he disengages from us. And in order, I almost forgot Soul Link, we have seen the very first time. So as an additional cost to commit Soul Link, take 1 horror. Now for the second action, we will move to the dormitories. The Servant of Flame engages us. We have a Shroud of 3, and this location comes into play with 1 clue per investigator. Next, for our final action, we will move to the Miskatonic Quad, or we will initiate a movement before we can resolve it. The Servant of Flame attacks us, deals us 2 damage and 2 horror. We will place 1 horror onto Alexei, 1 onto Isabelle, and same for the damage. 1 to Alexei and 1 to Isabelle. Now, after he has performed his attack of opportunity, we can finalize our movement to the Miskatonic Quad and fulfill the objective of act number 2A. As soon as we reach this location, we can advance here. The reason we do this is now we can set aside the Servant of Flame and also discard each enemy in play. Discarding is not equivalent to defeating. Whenever we discard the Bystander by an effect, the doomed keyword is not triggered. Then we discard all tokens and attachments from your friend's room and remove it from the game. Put the locations on library, science hall, and Warren Observatory into play. So here we have act number 3A. We put aside the Servant of Flame. We discard each enemy in play. And we remove your friend's room from the game. And we will bring in these 3 locations, the On Library, the Science Hall, and the Warren Observatory. All right, that should be it. Act number 3A's objective is to have 3 clues, and we can spend those 3 clues at the On Library in order to advance. We have a fast move action on the Miskatonic Quad. If we play with only 1 or 2 investigators, we can take a move action from this location once per round. And before we end our turn, we will move to the dormitories to take the action here and heal 1 damage and 1 horror in our next turn. Alright, this will end the investigation phase. We'll continue with the upkeep phase, radio cards, draw a card, gain a resource. Mythos phase, we will place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. Again, we have drawn Forbidden Secrets. This card surges when we have no clues. And we have found another bystander. Now, during the investigation phase, when our turn starts, we get to heal 1 damage or 1 horror from Alexei. We will heal 1 damage. We will then use the fast action on our Lucky Charm, exhaust the card, and remove 1 charge in order to move 1 damage from 1 card we control to another. And now we have the option to fight the bystander. Alternatively, we could again commit Soul Link from the discard pile to evade him as we did before. This way we can save us 1 more turn. We could then take the action here and move back to the Miskatonic Quad. So we will do this. We will, for our first action, evade the bystander, commit Soul Link. Now we have to take 2 horror, 1 direct horror from Isabelle's ability. And 1 from this card. So in total we have taken 2 horror. Now we have increased our agility by +3. We have an advantage of +5. And we have drawn the skull token, which is now a -4. So we succeeded. This card is shuffled back into our deck instead of being placed into the discard pile. So we successfully evaded the bystander, put him at this location, so he disengages from us and is exhausted now. We will take the action on the location to heal 1 damage and 1 horror. This is limited once per game. And finally, we will move back to the Miskatonic Quad. And here we will take the fast action to move to the Warren Observatory. Or we could Yeah, why not? We go to the Warren Observatory first. Another free shroud location with 1 clue per investigator. After you discover 1 or more clues at this location, draw 1 card. So this ends our turn. We will continue with the upkeep phase. Ready all cards. Draw a card. Gain a resource. Mythos phase. We place 1 doom on the agenda. Draw 1 encounter card. We have drawn extraplanar visions. Test willpower or intellect. Access the number of cards in your hand. If you fail, take a damage and discard 1 card at random from your hand. Now, the difficulty of the test is at any moment updated, meaning if we are committing cards to the skill test, we recalculate the difficulty of the test. We will choose to test with our willpower. We have willpower of 4, 2, 4, 5 cards in hand. Unexpected courage I want to keep, but we could commit a lucky charm to be at 5. Or maybe if we keep it, we increase the chance of not discarding jumpsuit. So let's just go and try the test without committing any cards. Now we have drawn the skull token. So it's a -4. We have failed. We'll have to take a damage. And discard 1 card at random from our hand. For that, we will roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 4. Yeah, unfortunately, we have lost our jumpsuit. I wanted to play it, but we just lost it. All right, back to the investigation phase. First, we can heal the damage from Alexei. And next, we can exhaust our lucky charm, spend the charge to move 1 damage from Isabelle to Alexei. Now we will move back to the Miskatonic quad during the investigation phase. Next, we will take the fast action here to or not yet. For our second action, we will draw a card. Oh, another jumpsuit. Perfect. We will then play it for our final action. Pay 1 resource to bring in the jumpsuit. So this card costs 1 resource. We can assign 2 damage on it. And we can discard it to choose a tool or weapon from our discard pile and add it to our hand. Before we end our turn, we want to move to... Where do we want to move? I mean, just to reveal, we're gonna move to the Science Hall with the free action on the Miskatonic quad. A 2 shroud location which comes into play with 1 clue per investigator. After you discover 1 or more clues at the Science Hall, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Now we will continue with the upkeep phase. The bystander does not have the hunter keyword, so we can ignore him and continue with the upkeep phase. Ready all cards, draw a card, gain a resource. Mythos phase, we place 1 doom on the agenda, draw 1 encounter card. Mutated, test your willpower 2. This test gets +2 difficulty if there is an enemy at your location. If you fail, you must either take 2 damage or each investigator at your location takes a horror. Alright, it has a difficulty of 2 only. Maybe that's the moment where we could commit lucky charm at least to be at +3. But +3 doesn't really help. We either go with unexpected courage, but we would only have to take a single point of horror, which isn't too bad. So let's just go ahead and let's just go ahead, draw a chaos token. And we have drawn a -8. We will decide to take a horror and place it on to Isabelle, which brings up to 5. 2, 4, 5. At the start of our turn, we get to heal a horror from Alexei. Now we will again trigger our lucky charm, exhausted, spend a charge to move one horror from Isabelle onto Alexei. There's a second copy of lucky charm if needed, and we have the bandages to heal some damage. But we have to successfully investigate first. Now it's turn number 4, and it's the perfect timing to play Will of the Cosmos. So this 0-cost event allows us to place 1 doom on a player card we control. Then we get to discover 1 clue at our location. Okay, so I should have read this card, but alright, it's alright. At your location, and 1 clue at another revealed location. Before we can play this card, we could also move to the on library to get to, but does it matter? I should have read this card. I think it matters. So before we play it, we'll take an action to move to the Miskatonic Quad and use the free movement action from the Miskatonic Quad to reach the on library. Here we have a Shroud of 4, and this location comes into play with 1 clue per investigator. But then again, we will place... that's okay. I haven't played it very ideally, to be honest. I have to get used to the cards and read them before playing them. Anyways, we now get to place 1 doom on one of our cards. We will decide to put it on our jumpsuit. Now we discover 1 clue at our location and 1 at the revealed. We will choose the Warren Observatory. And whenever we discover 1 clue at this location, we get to draw 1 card. All right. So this is then our second action. We have moved and played this card. So why did we play Will of the Cosmos this turn? Because the check for advancing only happens after we have placed a Mythos after we have placed a Doom token during the Mythos phase. So we can have any number of Doom in play. We could even have 100. We only check whether we advance during the Mythos phase after we have placed Doom, or alternatively, if we draw cards like Cosmic Evils, which instructs us or tells us that the agenda can advance from this effect. So that's the perfect timing. We will advance anyways. We can bring in 1 more Doom into play. Now we have 1 more action left, which we will use to bring in Spiritual Intuition. Pay 2 resources and end our turn. Continue with the upkeep phase, ready all cards. Draw a card. Nice. And gain a resource. So now in the Mythos phase, we place our 5th Doom. In total, we have 6. And whenever we advance, we remove each Doom in play, or all Doom in play. So when we advance, we have to perform an agility test with a difficulty of 3. Each investigator who fails takes 1 damage. But before we perform the test, we will bring in agenda number 3A, which advances when we have 10 Doom in play. And now every time we place Doom on this agenda, we have to draw 1 copy of Fire from the encounter discard pile. To the agility test, we will commit no cards. We test 3 to 3. And we have drawn a 0. Okay, perfect. So we save us 1 damage. Unbelievable. So we have 5 cards in hand. We could take the action on the on library. We can take 2 actions to draw 3 cards. Then we could move and move. Oh, before, at the beginning of our turn, we will heal 1 horror from Alexei. And use the final charge on Lucky Charm to assign 1 horror from Isabelle to Alexei. Okay, we'll take the action on the location. For 2 actions, we get to draw 3 cards, and we have found the Nameless Lurker, our basic weakness card. Spawn farthest empty location. When the investigation phase ends, if the Nameless Lurker is ready and has no Doom on it, place 1 Doom on it. So we can decide. Since we're gonna move to this location, we can place him onto this location. And for our final action, we will take a movement to the Miskatonic Quad, and here take the free action movement to get to the Science Hall. Now he has the aloof keyword. He does not engage us automatically. We will have to engage him by ourselves and fight him if we want to get rid of him. Yeah, we can skip the enemy phase, continue with the upkeep phase, ready all cards. Draw a card. Gain a resource. Check our hand size. We had 2, 4, 6, 8. Mythos phase. We place 1 Doom on the agenda. Now we'll have to find 1 copy of the Fire Treachery and attach it to our location. We place the Doom, we draw an encounter card, and we have drawn Cosmic Evils. So we'll just place 1 more Doom on the agenda. And also the forced effect when the investigation phase ends. Okay, this should have been, the forced effect should have been applied at the end of our turn, so we'll place 1 Doom on him. Back to the investigation phase. We still have not yet drawn a weapon. Not sure how to defeat the Servant of Flame at the moment. That's another reason I would go with the Jim Calva deck. There we have also magic cards that could deal damage. For the Nameless Lurker, we can engage and fight him. He has a combat of 2. We have some overpowers in hand to commit, which will help us to defeat him. We could also investigate here. We cannot spend too much time. Oh wow. I just realized that fire will also kill the Nameless Lurker. When the investigation phase ends, each non-elite card with health at this location takes 1 direct damage. Perfect. So the fire takes care of the Nameless Lurker. Alright. It's not the elite. So we can just investigate here. We have, look what I found. If we fail, we get to discover the clue by 3. Then we would have the 3 clues we need in order to advance. So we test 2 to 2. And we have drawn a -5. So the test fails by 2. Again, we play look what I found. Pay our 2 resources. It's quite costly, but at least we get the clues. Now we can leave this location for our second option, second action. And for the last action, have we healed damage or horror from Alexei? I don't think so, right? No, this turn we haven't, so we can still heal. Let's heal a horror. But I can't remember. I don't want to make it easier for me since I missed it. Make sure you don't miss it. Sometimes while I'm recording, my thoughts shift and I'm not paying attention to what is on the board or on my hand. So those small mistakes happens. But it would annoy me if I already healed. I mean, it's not even possible that I have healed horror or damage at this turn on him because he must have been defeated. So actually we can heal it without having bad thoughts about it. So let's heal the horror, I guess, yeah. All right, 1 more action, 1 free action movement at the Miskatonic Quad. We still miss a weapon. 2 for... So we can end our turn here. For our final action, we have 2, 4, 6, 7 cards. We will play the bandages, a 2-cost asset. Uses free supplies. If there are no supplies on bandages, discard it. After an investigator or ally asset at your location takes 1 or more damage, spend 1 supply, heal 1 damage from that card. So we have to be careful about fire in the upcoming turns. Next turn we definitely have to heal a damage from Alexei. So we will pay our 2 resources. End our turn, but take the free action to move to the own library. Now end our turn. When the investigation phase ends, each non-elite card takes 1 damage. The Nameless Lurker is defeated. He only has a single hit point. We had 2, 4, 6 cards in hand. Upkeep phase, ready all cards. Draw a card. Gain a resource, Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom, draw 1 encounter card. Noxious Smoke. For each point you fail by, take 1 damage. We do not want to do that. Instead, we will play Ward of Protection, pay 1 resource to ignore the Revelation effect and take 1 horror, which we will place onto our Lucky Charm and defeat this card. All right. Investigation phase, we hear 1 damage from LXA. Still no weapon, 2, 4, 6 cards in hand. So let's draw a card for the first action. Finally, a Meat Cleaver. We could play it. Yeah, why not? We will then pay 3 resources to bring in the Meat Cleaver. I hope for Jenny's 45s, or maybe we can draw 1 more time and see if we are lucky and draw her signature card, so we could defeat the Servant of Flame with our signature card and also show it off. We are at 2, 4, 6, 7 cards. If we draw a card, we are at 8. We play a card, that should be fine. There's no other action we want to take anyways this turn. Maybe gain resources, but we will draw 1 more card, hopefully. Unfortunately. Then we cannot wait no more. Or maybe we do not have to advance, but we should have a weapon in play. So we will bring in the Meat Cleaver, pay 3 resources. At least we now can fight. 1, 2, 3. Continue with the upkeep phase, ready all cards. Draw a card. Alright. Gain a resource. Now we could advance. We definitely could advance. 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. We have the Meat Cleaver to fight. Cleaver. 4, 4. Maybe. We also get... maybe we can, why not? Just to... And we can take 1 more turn, gain some resources. We have 1 more copy of Emergency Cache in our deck. The only card to worry about is Fire. So if we do not advance, we place Fire this turn and would have to take 1 damage at the end of our turn, which is okay since we have the bandages in play. And I just realized we haven't put any supplies on this card. Comes into play with 3 supplies. But also each turn we wait, we'll get more enemies. So maybe we can just advance. Why not? Let's make it exciting. See what we can pull off with the resources we currently have. We spend our 3 clues to advance. Now when we advance in act number 3A, we get Dr. Henry Armitage, bring back in the Servant of Flame, and place 3 clues at the Miskatonic Quad. And the objective of act number 4A is to defeat the Servant of Flame. We also have to draw the topmost copy of fire. Here we have Dr. Henri. All right, have we... yeah, we bring... No, the clues are missing at the Miskatonic Quad. Now it's final. We have the Servant of Flame in play, Dr. Henry Armitage. We have 1 copy of fire attached. And now we continue with the Mythos phase. Place 1 Doom on the agenda. Draw 1 more copy of fire. Place it to the nearest location and draw 1 encounter card. So we have drawn the Hellhound. Okay. That was one of the reasons I decided to advance. I knew that the encounter deck becomes small and the chances of drawing enemies increases. Now Dr. Henry Armitage has an ability that says the first action you perform each round does not provoke attacks of opportunities. So we could take a move action without being hit by the Hellhound. We have placed the fire at the end of the round, not in the investigation phase. We will then move to the Miskatonic Quad, avoid the attack of opportunity, and the Servant of Flame engages us. We are now in combat. So for the second action, we will obviously fight using our Meat Clever. We get +1 to our combat. We are at 4. He is at 4 and has the Retaliate keyword. Now, for this skill test, before we fight, we could play Premonition, and we will do so. So this card has the fast keyword. Play during any player window. We get to reveal 1 Chaos token, put it onto this event. And then it has a forced effect. When a token would be revealed from the Chaos bag, resolve the token sealed here as if it were just revealed instead. This is forced. So the next skill test you perform, you will have to use the token sealed on it. So we'll first of all draw 1 token. We have drawn a -2. So now we know that when we fight, we only have to beat the -2. That's the beautiful thing about this card. It tells you how much you have to commit. So currently we are at 4 with the Meat Clever, and we have to take a horror to make this card deal +1 damage. The horror we can place onto Dr. Henry Armitage. It's not direct, just take a horror. This attack deals +1 damage. I should have done this before, but I had to do it anyways. Now we have a -2, a combat of 4. So committing overpower only is enough to succeed. We have to use the -2 and discard Premonition. And since we have committed overpower, we get to draw 1 card. Okay, we have found our signature weakness card, but before we deal it, we place 2 damage on the Servant of Flame. Okay, what does it say? Revelation. Take 1 direct damage. Then, if you have 6 or fewer remaining sanity, yes, take 1 direct damage. Then, if you have 3 or fewer remaining sanity, take 1 direct damage. Alright, first we take a direct damage. Then we trigger our bandages, spend 1 supply to heal 1 damage. Then we trigger the second direct damage. Spend 1 more supply from our bandages to heal 1 more point of damage. And discard our weakness card. Alright, we have 1 more action. We will fight 1 more time. Again, we use the meat cleaver and we take a horror in order to deal +1 damage. Now for the final attack, we will again commit overpower, unexpected courage from hand, and spiritual intuition. This will increase our combat by +5. And we will also spend 1 resource with the spiritual intuition in play to further increase our combat by +1. So we have an advantage of +6. +7 would be ideal. However, let's see what we have in the discard pile. We cannot commit overpower because we have already committed 1 copy. Or maybe it makes more sense to use the one in the discard pile to keep the current one in hand. Yeah, I think it makes more sense. So we instead commit the one from the discard pile, put this one back into our hand. But by doing so, we also have to take 1 direct horror. Now we are only at +6. Let's see, we can use to the -8 and to the auto fail token. All the other tokens are successes. And we have drawn a -2, wonderful. This attack was also successful. We deal another 2 points of damage. And since we have committed overpower, we get to draw a card, but our power is shuffled back into our deck. Now 2 more damage on the Servant of Flame. We have taken our turn. Now it's the enemy's turn, enemy phase. Here we will get attacked first by the Servant of Flame. 2 horror and 2 damage. Let's see. We can assign 1 damage on the jumpsuit, 1 damage onto Isabelle, and immediately, or first let's assign the horror. 1 horror onto our doctor and 1 onto us. Now after the damage is dealt, we can spend the final supply on bandages to heal 1 damage from Isabelle. Now the Hellhound attacks and he has a forced effect. After Hellhound attacks, you, during the enemy phase, choose and discard 1 asset you control. But first we have to assign the damage and the horror. The damage will be placed on Dr. Henry Armitage. And the horror will be placed on Isabelle. Now we'll have to discard 1 of our assets and we will discard the jumpsuit. Each time an enemy attacks during the enemy phase, they get exhausted, and then we'll continue with the upkeep phase, ready all cards. Draw a card. Okay, this is an auto win. And gain a resource. Mythos phase, we place one doom on the agenda and draw one encounter card. We have drawn another enemy, a mutated experiment. We can place it here also. And we also have to bring in one more copy of fire, but it doesn't matter. We have won the game anyways now. Oh, we'll take the fire damage also when our turn ends. So actually the jumpsuit would have been damaged before we can discard it. So we have to place 1 damage on each card with printed health points. So the jumpsuit is discarded. 1 damage on Isabelle. 1 onto Alexei. 1 onto Dr. Henry Armitage. And now we have to additionally discard one of our assets. We discard the spiritual intuition. We could also... No, we definitely go with spiritual intuition. And the Hellhound also gets 1 point of damage during the investigation phase. Now I should have resolved everything correctly. So if we not decide to play Will of the Cosmos, we could again fight. We have 1, 2, 3, and the Unexpected Courage in the discard pile to be at 5. And we could go with Timely Intervention. Yeah, do we want to attack? We need one more. 2, 4, 5, 6. We would have an advantage of +6. Okay, let's try to not win with the clue. We're gonna attack. Use the meat clover, get +1. This time we do not have to take a damage to deal +1 damage. He only has 1 hit point left. Instead, we're gonna commit Overpower, Word of Protection, and use Jenny's reaction or special ability to commit Unexpected Courage from the discard pile and take 1 direct horror to be at 2 for +5. And we can also go with Timely Intervention to be at +6. So we still lose to a -8 and the autofill token. Just to make it more exciting. Let's see. Okay, let's take this one. Now we have drawn only a -1. Okay, in this case we succeed. We win the game. We deal the final point of damage to advance. Now Unexpected Courage will be shuffled back into our deck. Overpower lets us draw a card. Another Timely Intervention. Then we assign the damage, defeat the Servant of Flame, and win the game. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. Again, I wouldn't consider this to be the best deck with Isabelle. I mean, where are our weapons? So, Isabelle's Twin was the last card. Could have helped. But again, it's only 1 copy. And if you play around this card, it's not reliable to draw it. Like, you cannot rely on it since there's only 1 copy and it's not that strong. I would recommend to go with a Jim Carver Magic deck because also Timely Intervention becomes more powerful, providing 2 willpower icons, and we can include Guts into our deck and Overpower, so more skill cards, which allows us to trigger Isabelle's ability more often. And also each time we do that, we get to draw a card with Jim Carver. And later, when you want to update your deck, you definitely want Charisma and add Alexei together with Rex Murphy, it's a perfect combo. But anyways, we managed to win. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could learn something. We have defeated the Servant of Flame. Let's put him into the discard pile. I mean, into the victory pile. And we have met the objective, finished the game. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time and bye-bye.